If you want to have this luxurious life, you need to put that person in that picture and say, do they fit there with me?
When I was still working with my therapist, like we had to do baby step things. Like the first baby step was, can you sleep 6 hours? Because I couldn't
Sleep.
And I knew I would cry every night. And I did that for months.
I don't want to say my divorce wasn't painful. The marriage and relationship was so painful that I feel like the divorce was a relief.
What's up, listeners? Get ready for raw, unfiltered, laugh out loud conversations among friends. So take your bra off, get comfy, and let's jump into our show.
We are twinsies. You guys, you have to know this because Fiorella and I try to talk about coordinating our outfits. We're not so much coordinating, but making sure we're not wearing the same thing. And we both got the same shirt from the TikTok shop. And many of you might have it because not only do we have this shirt, but we've seen at least several other women with this shirt. It's really cute. It's fabulous. And so I'm literally on my way here in the line at Starbucks getting my little pre-podcast latte. And she texts me and I'm listening to it in my car. She's like, just FYI, I'm wearing a TikTok shirt today. And I'm dying laughing because I'm like, me too. And so I'm like, okay, I know hers is black, mine's green, and we'll style it. We're fine. Twinsies. Yay! Anyway, it's been nice. We had our last episode, we had a guest, but you and I haven't. It's been a while there in a little bit, with the holidays and everything. So I'm excited.
My whole family came into town. My brother came in from New Jersey with me, so my nephew and his wife, and we explored Vegas, had a good time. No, it's hard too because having my niece and nephew grow up away from us, like the connection is lost. So it was nice to like have like the auntie niece day. It was a good.
Today is my nephew's birthday.
Oh, so happy birthday, your nephew!
Shout out to him. He is 7. Sorry, I actually lost you. Yeah, sure. Nice. Like, I didn't really have a lot of family, so I kind of spent time just by myself and like hanging out and doing some holiday things with friends. And it was nice, but it was like really good downtime. But as soon as I came back, it's like not only did life start back full force, but my social media was off the chain with craziness. Now, I'm not going to talk about our current political situation craziness because that could be like 17 episodes series. But you know what kept coming across my social media, which I had no idea what it was. I felt like such a boomer. Have you ever heard of Christy and Desmond Scott? Okay, I didn't know who they were, but they must have been somebody because apparently they're getting divorced. After 11 years of marriage because she says he cheated her or something. So that's all I saw, but it came out, which I thought was hilarious because I'm like, does the algorithm think I know these people? Do I have friends named Christy or Desmond? Because on every single social media platform, here come their faces and it's like, social media couple. And I'm like, I don't know you. I'm like, what? Yeah, it got me thinking about this whole divorce thing, which is a topic that you and I both are familiar.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah. And doesn't it seem like, I don't know, I know technically January is not the biggest divorce month, but it feels like it is.
New year, new me, no husband.
Or you spent too much time with the in-laws over and you're like, I don't. Yeah, but do you know what the biggest month is?
No.
August.
Oh.
And I was just like, I wonder why August, because I was looking that up and I'm like, Katie Couric, me or whatever, had this article about, is there such thing as a divorce month? I'm like, yeah, it's got to be January. It's like, no, it was August.
Oh.
And they hypothesized that was two things could be happening. First, it's like summertime, kids aren't in school. And so if there's going to be a change, do it before they go back to school. But I'm like, August seems still whatever. Or they've been home with the kids the whole time. Or if you're empty nesters and now you no longer have kids at home, you look at the other person like, yeah, no. And then that's when divorce happened. March was the other popular month. But then they also correlated that and said their highest month for suicides was March too. So I guess March is just a bad month. We need to age the month of March.
Literally.
I know. Like, that's a good juju in March. March juju out of here. You remember Beware the Ides of March, Julius Caesar? But my English teacher would be really proud of that, bro.
Oh.
But yeah, that article was really interesting because there was a stat about what's the average length of a marriage, and then there was another stat, what's the average length of a first marriage when a couple gets divorced.
Ooh.
Very different numbers.
I was gonna say, I feel like maybe first marriage is under 10.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was 8 years. 8 years.
Okay.
Which is like, that was enough for me too.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
But then the average length of marriage, I was shocked.
As a whole,
Yeah. Take a guess.
20 years.
And I swear she didn't read my notes.
Oh,
It was 20 years.
wow.
And I'm like, I mean, I guess I do know people who've been married longer than 20 years, but no people I honestly don't. So I just think divorce is an interesting topic because so many people, being someone who's been divorced, and yeah, we've been divorced, I feel like it's so common that people forget how tragically difficult it really is. So if you're listening to this and you're going through a divorce, first of all, I'm sending so much love.
All the Uggs.
And even though like my first divorce could be described, my divorces could be described as amicable, it doesn't mean that it wasn't so literally the hardest thing that I've ever done in my life.
Oh, 1,000%.
Yeah.
1,000%. Like I always think about when I had mine, and I always like laugh and think about like I'm gonna be that grandma with stories of like when I was your age, this happened to be.
Oh yeah. But yeah, so I thought we could talk about like what divorce is really like. Because I for sure didn't know. I mean, obviously I did not go into the decision lightly. I had a therapist, I had counseling. I really wanted things to work. I was someone who very much believed in marriage. And it didn't work. I mean, and as much as I wanted to work, it wasn't working. And it was really tragic. I mean, this is someone that you love, you have feelings for, you have friendship and affinity. And if you've been one of those 20-year marriages, you've been around for decades of your life, or some people most of their adult life, or someone you've been with forever, you stood up and spent thousands of dollars to help people. This is my person. And then it's done. Yeah. So I'm curious, like how old were you when you first got married? Your first?
Oof. I was 24 years old.
I was young too.
Yeah.
Did you feel like you were young at 24?
I didn't, but I don't want to say that I was forced into marriage. My father especially is a very conservative man. He was like, you don't live with your boyfriend, you live with your husband. So yeah. So I married my ex because one, we were together for 8 years.
Yeah.
And then
before you got married?
Yeah.
Oh, so you were like a baby when you met this guy.
Oh yeah, I was like in high school then.
Oh my gosh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So we moved to Florida, got married, and it was really crazy because I saw the movie Eat, Pray, Love.
Oh.
And I don't know if you remember the scene when she's like in bed listening to him, like pretty much saying like, I don't want to fucking do this anymore.
Yes.
And I was like,
relatable.
Yeah, the whole time I was like, I'm with you, girl. I don't want this anymore. And like, I remember, it's a very vivid scene in my mind, but I was literally in the living room of the house that we had. And listen, white picket fence, yard, 2 dogs. He had a great job. I was on a cosmetology school already.
Yeah.
And I was looking around, I'm like, I don't want this.
Yeah.
I don't want this life. And we didn't do therapy, but I proposed we either get therapy or get divorced.
Damn.
And his response was, well, tell me where to sign because I'm not doing that shit.
Wow. Our stories are kind of parallel. So I was 23. It was literally 2 days after my 23rd birthday.
Oh, wow.
And so I was young. And the thing is, now that I have a 21-year-old daughter, she just got 21. Happy birthday. Now that I have a 21-year-old daughter, 23 to me feels like a baby. And I remember, and first my parents were the same way, kind of conservative. And they're like, my mom would say, if you try to move in with your boyfriend, I will not speak to you. Mm-hmm. We do not do that in our house. And not that I was like, oh, I'm going to get married him then, but it was kind of like, well, I don't know. It was like this, everything seemed to fall in place. Like I graduated from college. He graduated from college. We both got jobs. Check. He was a good person. He was attractive. We were friends and all this other stuff. We kind of clicked, and he was really healthy for me at the time. in hindsight, my therapist was like, he's the exact kind of person you needed at that time because the people before him were not very healthy. And so there was a lot of normalcy and like really good positive things about that relationship. But at 23 years old, I'm making a decision to be like, oh yeah, I know what I'm doing, and I haven't even lived for the rest of your life. And so that feeling of waking up and saying, for me, it wasn't that it was like, I don't want this, but it wasn't so much I didn't want him. It was the entire life. It felt so wrong. It felt not me at all. And of course we had challenges because we were married. Married people all have challenges.
Oh, 100%.
And I was going to therapy, and I remember asking him to go to therapy, and he was uncomfortable with it, so he never went. And so I'm like trying to do all this stuff to work on us and on me, but I'm like, I can't do this alone. And I mean, there were other factors, and this is not a bash session because I do think he's a good person, and he's been such a great dad, especially even after we've gotten divorced. And so I wish nothing but positivity, but it was just like, I remember having that feeling because I kept asking my therapist, like, what should I do? What should I do? She's like, you know what to do. She's like, but your brain, you have to just sit with it. And I know I've given that story before about just sitting with something and letting it marinate. But when I did that, I remember thinking like, I mean, I should be making a list or I should be doing this. She's like, no, just sit with it. You know, you'll know. And so I remember sitting in, like, we had this, in our master bedroom, we had this, it sat over the garage and there was a window and we had a little chair there at Number City with a book in this chair. And I was just like, yeah, this is not my life. And it was the hardest thing ever because I cared about my husband at the time. I, of course, wanted my daughter to have 2-parent household, and we had all these things. And I'm like, I don't know what to do with this. So it took me a while from when I had that moment to when I had the talk with him, but it was rough.
Yeah.
And sounds like it was similar for you, that it's kind of a moment where, what was the thing that you're like, this doesn't fit?
We had a really bad fight. And the thing is, it's weird because it was a super toxic relationship that, like, especially being that young, you don't realize it's toxic. You're just like, this is it, because you hear marriage is hard, right? But there's a limit to how hard it can be. And I think we had a fight, and it got bad. I was crying all day, like all day. And there was a time when he came into the room when I was crying, and he's like, "You're such a fucking drama queen."
Whoa.
And in my head, I'm thinking like, your wife has been crying in room all day, and your response is, she's a drama queen, not how can we fix this,
Right.
Yeah. And when I saw that, it hit me really hard because my parents, they had the most incredible marriage to me. And I remember when I pretty much planted him with the papers, I said, when I served him, I said, listen, like, my parents are in their 60s and we're in our 20s, and they have more passion than we do. So this,
Yeah.
like, I'm not trying to covet my parents' relationship.
Right. Did you think, like, when you got married that there was even a possibility of divorce?
I don't want to say, that's the crazy part, because I have been asked that before. I don't want to say that I thought about it, but I wasn't against it.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't like I felt like we're definitely going to get divorced, but it was like, if something has to happen, it is what it is.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm going to tell you, and apparently our audience, something I've only really told my mom and maybe one other person, but like I said, my first husband was really sweet, good person. But there was a point not too long after we got married where I just had this weird sinking feeling that this was not right. I couldn't put my finger on it because literally, and this is what people told us when they found out we were getting divorced. It's like, we had a beautiful home. We both had great jobs. It's like everything looks so good. But it was like there was something inside of me. It was this knowing, and it hit me once. And I remember having this feeling like, oh my God, this isn't it. But I committed to it, and I have to do it. And I'll just have to have one of those lives where I'm just not fully happy or fully fulfilled or fully whatever. It will never be one of those like fairy tale romances, and I just have to suck it up and deal with it.
I think that's like the crazy part, that we like the conditioning of, like, don't get me wrong, we get for better or for worse, but like I said, there's a limit,
right? And it's actually ironic because my parents, I've seen my own parents go through crazy things, right? So for me, it's like, I guess this is what it is, right? Kind of the same thing. Like, this is what we do. We have to suck it up.
Right.
And I'll never forget, my sister used to travel the world for work.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time she was in Puerto Rico, and what she would do is if she could like somehow finagle the lodging, she would always get the 2 queens. So she would like have my parents milk a free vacation. And so they were in Puerto Rico with her. And I'll never forget, I called my dad crying the day after we had that fight. And I'm like, Daddy, I can't do this anymore. And in my heart, I was like, he's going to be like, what a failure. Are you kidding me? That's not what you said I do for. He was like, finally. And the thing is, I was like shocked because I'm like, really? Like, I've been holding out all this time because you didn't like it? Really? And my sister, it's funny because after it all happened, and then the divorce was ugly. The divorce was really ugly. I mean, there's way too many details, but it was just a fight. And he left me with nothing. He literally left me with nothing but $100, my car, and my clothes. And I always say, like, I'm going to be that grandma saying, like, it's starting a new life with $100 car and clothes. And it was funny because my sister was like, well, you don't remember Daddy, right before you guys got married, he was saying, like, Mija, I'll take you wherever you want to go. We'll go to Europe. I'll take you on vacation. You don't have to do this. But the problem is, he said it with like almost like a jubilance to it. Like, it was like almost like jokingly. And I was like, haha, very funny, Daddy. But my sister was like, no, he was serious. I was like, then why didn't he repeat it and tell me, like, no, I'm not kidding. Like, I wouldn't be like, yeah, let's go. I want to go to Spain.
Oh my gosh. You mentioned the financial implications because I think that's something that I know in a future episode, we're going to be speaking with a financial expert and talking about women and money. But I do think that one of the things I've noticed both personally and from among my friends is that no matter how successful the woman is or is not, we always get the short end of the financial stick after divorce. So I mean, it doesn't have to be like, yes, stack your coin, make sure you're taken care of. But I always wonder why that is. But I can say for me, it was this not wanting, like when we worked through our split, not wanting to like rock the boat. And so I do think in the observation I've had with other people's splits from their marriages that I don't think the men care about that shit at all. I really don't. I think that women, again, it kind of goes back to this, you have to placate everybody, be nice and kind and all this other stuff. And I kind of wish that as women as a whole, as a population, we're separating from someone, that we get a lot more like, get what you learned. Well, and it's not like take the man for everything he has, but I'm a huge fan of prenups.
Hero.
Yeah. And
There are host nuts, by the way.
prenups, post-nups, during nups, whatever.
Any nup.
I'm just saying, like, before when you would watch like the soap operas and the movies and someone's like, first of all, it was always the man saying, I want you to sign this prenuptial agreement. But I'm saying, like, whether I have 4 cents for $4 million, and I'm not going to get married again, I don't see it personally. But if I were to ever get married again, it would totally, the prenup is a number, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we'll do it collectively and collaboratively, but prenups. I mean, do you think that takes the romance out of things?
I don't think so. I mean, here's the thing. Like, I'm a huge fan of saying life is perspective.
Yeah.
So if that's the perspective you're choosing, then that's what you're choosing to look at it as, right? So if you're looking at it like a negative connotation, I mean, listen, at the end of the day, if you almost have to put yourselves in their shoes. You know, they have a legacy that they want to protect. And they don't want some, because at the end of the day, there are nefarious people that will do crazy things like get married and then get a divorce and say you did something wrong and now I'm going to get half of your, millions. And so I think that I don't necessarily think there is a negative I think it's the connotation I'm going to give it.
I agree. And I personally, I kind of think of it almost like a will. People are like, oh, prenups take all the romance out of things. I think of it almost like a will. Like, I'm not excited to die, but it could happen. I don't know when it could happen. So I'm going to prepare myself just in case so that everybody's cool.
Oh, yeah.
And so I do think that prenup should be something that's almost like standard. I mean, it's so interesting because over the years, there's so many laws in place that they say are there to protect women because women until the 70s, we can have our own bank accounts and credit cards and those types of things. So I know at least in the state of Michigan, where I'm from, there are a lot of laws about property and marital property so that people are not disadvantaged either partner or disadvantage when they're split. But I still feel like I don't, and that's what I'm saying. I don't really, I guess I should talk to a divorce lawyer, divorce financial person, but I don't know why it is that it seems like women get screwed time and time again. So, and again, and I'm not bashing men, and I'm sure it's been the opposite. I obviously have a particular perspective, and I have female friends, and I feel it's here that informing my perspective. So, first of all y'all YouTube trolls, but I know you're going to say some shit about this. Just recognize that I do recognize that this is my personal perspective, right, of the circle of people that I surround myself.
Oh no, for sure. Like even my own aunt, she got divorced. Her ex-husband, he was financially doing significantly better than her, but she had to pay him alimony because he somehow finagled that he had more time with the kids, so he needed the support.
Yep.
And that's the problem, right? Like there's so many loopholes. There's so many because of this. Like you have an extra hour or you have an extra half day. That means you have more responsibility. So yeah, now the man is more responsible. It's like,
it's so.
it's a lot of junk. That's what I'm saying. How I guess I get it. Like we have the politics, we have the laws, we have the whatever the standards that we have to go by. But like at the end of the day, like you have to just look at the whole picture. For it's such a subjective situation for everybody,
And I think that's
that it can't be blanketed.
yeah. That's why I got ironed out beforehand when you're all in love, not when you're hurt.
Yes.
So I'm curious. Like there was a lot about being divorced, especially the first time, that I was not prepared for. And I'm wondering if that was your experience too.
So what happened was when we got married, my dad was blessed. He did well for himself and he bought us our house. It was during the 2008 recession.
Oh, yep.
And so the houses were dumb cheap. And so he bought us a house with his both. And we had to pay him X amount just to like give him something back. And that's what my ex-husband was responsible for. He said, listen, like he was the main breadwinner. And when we were getting divorced, I had the audacious ex-mother-in-law that made my ex-husband fight for the house. Mind you, she was a mooch of all mooches. Literally, like she was somebody that, like, I kid you not, he was in a car accident and he got a bad trifling accident. The second she found out how much he got, miraculously, there was a few months she couldn't pay her mortgage. There were some financial gifts regularly given, bills we had her come regularly pay for. Literally, I mean, that money was gone within a year.
Crazy.
Because people were just out with their hands, right? So, and that was a person that happened, is that the people that I thought would understand, like, hey, like, this was earned with my father's hard-earned money, and you have the gall to literally be like, no, you have to fight for half of it. Get out of here.
Yeah.
Nah, luckily we got it. But that's why I was left with my car, my clothes, and clothes.
Yeah. I think for me, it was more the emotional piece. I mean, of course I knew I was going to be hurt. I knew that there was going to be some level of that, but the intensity of that was hard for me. So first I moved out of this beautiful home and I moved into an apartment, which was a decent enough apartment, but it felt like I felt like I dealt with a lot of feelings of failure and shame.
Yes.
I was a single parent and I felt like, oh my gosh, I did this to my daughter. And then just like not being able to sleep at night. I mean, I was a mess. And even though it's like, I knew it was the right thing, but those first couple months were just torture. And if you're watching this, listening to this, I mean, tell me, I mean, if you want to jump in and tell us
like how you felt if this was a reality for you. But I remember when I was still working with my therapist, like we had to do baby step things. Like the first baby step was, can you sleep 6 hours? Because I couldn't sleep. And I knew I would cry every night. And I did that for months. And I just remember this one story that still sticks with me. And I tell people this because it was in that, like, the positive thing was so many people that I didn't even know came out of the woodwork that I don't want to say I didn't know, but I didn't really have a strong relationship with. They came out of the woodwork and were so incredibly helpful. So I had this little apartment and they told me I could paint the walls. And as a mom, I was like, I'm going to paint this and make it more homey. And there was this group at work of women at work. We all happened to be women, but we were all, we worked on a particular topic together. It was like a kind of a working group. And they knew I was getting divorced. And I think I'd mentioned that I was going to paint my apartment. And they all agreed to come over and paint. And it was just so nice first to not be alone, have the support of these really great women. And then one of them pulled me aside and she's like, Jennifer, I know what you're going through. I did this. I had a young son and blah, blah, blah. And now she's remarried. She's like, but I want to tell you this. And she like grabbed me and she's like, I know how bad you're hurting right now, but in a few months and a few years or whatever, you will never be happier. You are going to be so good. Yeah. And she's like, if you could just get through this really tough part. And I was so glad she said that because it gave me kind of this light at the end of the tunnel. Because when I was in it, first I was sleep deprived, I'm not sleeping. Financially, I was kind of hurting because I'm still paying for a lot of things. Had to move and I'll start over. And I had all these feelings of shame. And to just have someone pull me aside and say, it's going to be okay. It really kind of helped drive me through. So, and also, as much as I had people who were in my corner who I didn't expect, I was very saddened to see people not in my corner who I expected. So.
I literally had the same experience because I actually had, ironically, my really good friend Yahira and her husband Camilo. I know Camilo from my ex-husband because my ex-sister-in-law's best friend was his ex-wife or is his ex-wife.
Good Lord, I can't follow that one.
That's what I'm saying. So yeah, anywho, long story short, Camilo and Yahira were also in Florida. I know Camilo from New Jersey. And when I was going through the divorce, they opened their home to me. Oh. And they said like, hey, we have an extra bedroom. Listen, I didn't have a job. Like I moved across the state. I moved in with them. And listen, I was a hot ass mess and I will die on a hill to understand and acknowledge, like, I know I was a hot mess living in your place. So I love you guys for even opening your place to me. But it was because of them that I was able to start a new life.
Yeah.
And if it wasn't for them to open their home to me when I least expected it, I don't know where I would be. And I'm a big reflector. Like I reflect on things regularly. And I always say like, I will never be ungrateful for everything I've gone through because I wouldn't be who I am today without that.
Right on.
And I will say I don't want to say my divorce wasn't painful. The marriage and relationship was so painful that I feel like the divorce was a relief.
Yeah.
Going through it was hard because it was a fight and it was him, I was locked in a room in one side of the house and he was banging on the door when he would get drunk and whatever. I mean, we even got to a point we had 2 pit bulls together. And my one pit bull, Capone, he was like my ride or die. He was like my baby. And there was one day he came in the room, my ex-husband came in the room and the dog got in between us and like put his chest up to him, kind of like, don't you fucking dare. And I was like, that's right. That's right. Capone. That's my baby. But it just shows like he felt like, no, you're not going to hurt her. Like you're not going to do anything to her. So the going through the divorce, like if you are experiencing this, yes, it's hard. Yes, it sucks. But like she said, like, I would not be where I am today if I didn't make that really hard choice.
Yeah.
And I'm a firm believer. I think we even touched on it in our last episode. Like, you're in a good state of where you're at because you're going through some shit. Excuse my language to everybody listening. But if you're going through it, and it means you're actually on the right track because you have to go through it to go up.
Yeah. You have to go through it. I mean, and I can want to co-sign so much on the friends thing.
Oh, yeah.
But I had to put myself in such a vulnerable state because I would say most of the people I would have called friends prior to my divorce and then after, a completely different group of folks. Like I really did not fuck with them anymore. Sorry, Mom. She told me to stop cussing so much during the podcast episodes. But no, they didn't fuck with me. I didn't want to fuck with them. And I did feel a little bit betrayed by certain friend groups, but I had to put myself, so this is kind of a PSA. If you are going through divorce, considering divorce, your friend groups will change.
Yeah.
For whatever reason,
100%.
I think people who are still married are weirded out by the fact that you're not the married friends anymore.
Right.
They don't know. They got to choose sides. They don't know what to say. Some people are uncomfortable around single women or divorced women or whatever. I don't I don't personally understand that, but I've heard that enough times where it's probably a thing. But what I did, I had to humble myself because I literally found myself looking around, and I wasn't in a big town. So there weren't, and it was, what was it? Was it the 2000s, early 2000s? So there wasn't like meetups and stuff like that. I lived in a college town. And so I went, and there was a grad student that I'd actually helped recruit there. And I wasn't much older. So these people are still like my age range. And I remember seeing like on Facebook that he was always doing this cool stuff with people. And I kept saying, I have to get some friends. I have to get some freaking friends. And I literally went up to, at the time, he was kind of a stranger. He was kind of an acquaintance. And I just said, look, I know we don't hang, and I really just see you out there and doing some things. So if there are things happening, would you mind just sharing them with me? And sorry. Immediately he pulled me into a circle of friends and invited me to things. And those were the people who are still my friends now.
Oh, I love that.
And even though he and I feel so guilty, haven't talked a lot recently, but like my daughter grew up with him and calls him uncle. And, you know, he's always sending Christmas cards. And, you know, when he got married, he came to, actually when I got married the second time, he came to the destination wedding, and I met his then now wife, and they were together at the time. And some of the really great friendships I have were because I met that circle of friends, because he was like, no problem, cool, and just invited me. And so that's really powerful. So if you are someone who's going through, damn it, there's no tissue in here, going through a separation or divorce, sometimes you just have to like put yourself out there in such a different kind of a way.
Yes.
That's scary as hell.
Yes. And
then
thank you for the tissues.
I'll take the whole box.
But it's literally like, it's going to be super hard. And like you said, like, I remember I had friends that I was close with that took his side.
Yeah.
They were the ones like saying like, well, you did this and you did that. I'm like, how? Who told you that? Yeah. He's the one creating these stories. He don't know what the hell he's talking about. Like it's literally like all he had to do was say up, and they said how high. And I'm like, really? Like, you didn't ask, you didn't want to hear my side. Like we all know there's three sides: her side, his side, and the truth.
Right.
And ain't nobody wanted to find out the truth. So.
Yeah. Yeah. And so you have to put yourself out there. You have to meet people, and you also have to be able to, you're not just divorcing your partner. You're probably going to divorce
The family.
First of all, the family, which that was a big loss too.
Yeah, that was a huge loss.
And then you're going to divorce probably some of your old friendships.
Yep.
And it becomes this big evolutionary thing.
Yeah.
So I always think like, had I known that before I got married, had I known like the extent of first challenge that marriage was, because marriage is hard. Even when you have a great marriage, it's really hard.
Yeah.
And then the pain of the separation, I'm like, damn, I would have at least waited. So when I see these like 20, 21-year-olds, first of all, I don't even want to get started on these old men trying to talk to these 18-year-olds, but these folks say, oh, I'm ready to get married. I'm so in love. I want to say, love ain't got shit to do with it. Okay. This is a life decision.
Yes.
That's bigger than a car, a college, where you're going to live. It's a lot of things. And so that's why when people ask me, would you get married now? I say, no, I see no point to it. But you got remarried.
I did.
So how did you go into it this time? Or do you feel like, I guess, what did you learn? And how did that impact either your decision to get remarried or your current marriage, or however you want to answer that?
So after my divorce, I changed careers. I was in banking before I got divorced. And during the divorce was when I was in cosmetology school. So I had like a whole new life that I began. And I told myself that I'm not going to date anybody until I knew I was mentally and emotionally ready, because my ex-husband was also very verbally and physically abusive. So for me, like it was a lot of trauma.
Pause. We got to find him and kick his ass. I'm sorry.
I mean, listen, if you were to see him, you'd be like, oh, he's kicking his own ass. You're fine.
Yeah, but I mean,
Yeah,
I wouldn't mind getting a few licks.
I would say you can if I were to show you him, you can tell life's been a little hard on him, and I'm okay with that.
I mean, you shouldn't answer violence with violence, y'all. But
yeah,
you know, I'm fiercely protective of my friends.
So after getting my license, my cosmetology license, and thriving in the salon, I remember it took 5 years after my divorce to finally open my heart and date somebody. And he was the guy on one of the episodes I mentioned that he cheated on me. And one of the times he cheated on me was when I was out burying my father. And my sister, after I broke up from him, my sister was the one who told me, like, you need to put all of that energy you put into somebody else into yourself.
Right.
And I think that my biggest tip for any woman or man or anyone out there, love yourself 100% first. Because if you don't love yourself 100%, like literally, emotionally, physically, professionally, whatever it is, you're going to put that extra love that you should be giving to yourself to somebody else, and you're going to be empty while they're taking it.
Yeah.
And I poured into myself for a good 2 years. And that was when I found John, and it was easy.
Yeah.
It was super easy. Like whenever I would date someone, I would have like the butterflies and the nerves and the this and the that, where with him, like I was super confident. I wasn't nervous. I was asking him audacious questions because I'm like, because I was very clear. Like I was like, I'm here to meet my future husband. Like I didn't want a boyfriend. I wanted a husband because I know I want kids. I wanted a life. And he answered everything correctly. And ever since then, and we're still very happily married. Do we have hard moments? Of course. Like we said.
Well, you're married.
Right.
Come on.
Marriage is not easy.
Right.
But what's cool is, we're both evolving, and we both are accepting each other's evolution regardless of what we're going through. And I think that's a beautiful thing, that we both understand, like, we're human beings evolving and we're just on the ride together.
I love that.
Yeah.
John, you're a good man.
He is. You're a good baby.
No, I think the key to what you said is that you had time to really pour into yourself.
Yes.
And I think that's something that a lot of people aren't able to do at such a young age. You just don't know about yourself yet. You don't know what boundaries you have. You don't know the things that make you happy yet, or the things that you're frustrated with, or some of the deep personality type things that really shape who you are as a character wise. And so you go into these long relationships without knowing some real firm basics about who you are. Not to say that, and I love what you said, that you guys evolve together, because you as a couple, you do evolve. Everybody's going to change throughout their lives.
Yeah.
But I do think the heart and the core of who you are does not change.
Right.
But until you know who that is, it's really hard to go into a partnership. And so I love the word partnership.
Yes.
When I say I don't think I would ever get married again, it's not because I don't believe in partnership or commitment or anything like that. I just personally, the rest of it is just not my thing.
Yeah.
But I do love the idea of having a partnership with someone. And so, but in order to do that, I really have to know what's important to me. What are my boundaries? What can I give? What I would want from my partner? But at the same time, it's like, I'm also very content with my current life now. So it's not like, when we used to hear growing up, like, oh, two halves and a whole, and you complete me from Jerry Maguire. It's such bullshit.
Yeah.
You should be 100% whole in order to like have a really good relationship.
Yeah.
Because I think that's why some people are so devastated after a divorce, because it's already heartbreaking. It is the grief that is the similar stages of grief to when you have a death or a loss. And I experienced that, and I'm sure you experienced that. But also at the
because the idea of what you thought it was going to be is dead.
It's dead. The future that you planned, the life that you planned, is gone.
Yeah, I think that like it's so crazy, because these are the things that we're not really taught. Because as much as even loving yourself, like the life that you're going to live, the life that you're living right now, right? Like pretty much how you're saying you love your life right now. Like you have to ask yourself, like, if you're still somebody who's looking for your husband or you want a forever partner, like you have to ask yourself, like, would this person blend with my life that I have? Right? Because like, I even think about my ex-husband and like how we were and like what I wanted to be professionally and the dreams that I had, and like our dreams weren't aligned. Like the life that we wanted wasn't aligned. And I think that that's something that we fail to recognize when we're looking for a partner. Like, are they a family person? Do they like to go out to eat? Do they like to work out? Do they like to drink? Do they like, do they like coffee? Like little things like that. And it sounds so minute, but at the end of the day, like if you're a morning coffee person and you have a dream that you want your man to wake up and make your coffee for you before you even wake up, if he don't like coffee, he ain't gonna do that for you. You like, it's one of those things where it's like, that's where like you have to ask yourself the really minute questions. Like, does he like cereal? Like, it's just little things like that that like make such a big impact, because without understanding those little things, and when it comes down to it, like if you think about it, at the end of the day, like, yes, it's small things, but for some reason it's those little things that like get under our skin.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I remember like my sister-in-law, we have this thing where we like to drink in the morning, hot water with apple cider vinegar and honey. And her mom asked if we wanted it. So then she asked how she made it. And she got so upset because she's like, I've asked you to make this for me 1,000,000 times. How do you not know? So I think about like people, well, I think about even like marriages, like, how do you not know? I've been doing this the last 10 years we've been married. How do you not know that's how I like it, Yeah. So it's understanding like the minute things to pretty much, I don't want to say curate, but like make sure you meet the right partner.
Well, it's interesting that you bring this up, because if I would never say I'll never get married again, but if I were to get married again, I would very much lean into, and we talked about this like episode 2, is marriage worth it today or whatever. I would really lean into having a marriage that makes sense for me and my partner. Yeah. Not do you remember what was it? I can't remember. Was it the Munsters or the Addams Family? You would never see couples sleeping in the same bed in older TV shows, because they didn't want to show that. And for different reasons, more morality reasons. Right. But like there are couples now, like I think I brought this up, Shirley Ralph. And then do you know who Jay Moore is, the comedian?
Yes.
Actor. Okay, so I think he's married to the owner of the Lakers. Oh. Or I think her father was on, she's the owner now, or whatever. And everyone's like, how'd you land that? But
you got that?
He was on a podcast, and he was talking about how they must have like a condo or some sort of situation. She lives upstairs, he lives downstairs, because he said it's the best thing, because having our own spaces is important. And I just think that some of the things that can trip you up in a marriage, just take it out of the equation.
Yeah,
little things like some people sleep separately, and people are like, well, why even get married if you don't want to be? Because I don't want to fucking be on top of anybody.
Yeah.
And it's like some people live separately. Cheryl Lee Ralph and her husband live on different coasts. There you go. And they're happy. Some people have separate banking accounts. Some people have joint. My thing is, do what works for you.
Yes. Absolutely. Like John has so it's funny, where we live, he has a man loft, right? And that's where when he comes home from work, he decompresses. He either watches sports, plays video games. Like that's his like decompression area. Yeah. That's his space. And it's funny because there are times where like I clean, or I'm OCD. So I'm like, are these shoes done? Like, can I put them away? He's like, it's my man loft.
Yo, Fiorella has the cleanest house you'll ever see. And I fancy myself a clean person, but when I go in there, I'm like, I'm flabbergasted.
My mom would be very proud to hear
yes,
this.
Well,
and I have
the apple does not fall far from the tree.
But like he says, this is my man loft. Like, leave it alone. Like, this is my space. And I think about like even what you just said, and not that like well, actually, we've had nights where like we have a guest room, and if he's snoring a little too loud, like I know Daddy's got to wake up early. Let me go in the other room so I can get rest and he can sleep. Yeah. And it is what it is. That's what we have to do. And I know even for that reason, right? I know there are couples that sleep in separate rooms because one snores louder than the other and they can't handle it. Doesn't mean it's divorce worthy, but they just can't sleep together.
Or, I think it's kind of further illustrating the point that you have two whole people coming together. Like, we don't expect with our friendships. Think about like your best friends. I love my best friends. Yeah. But if I had to be with them 24/7, eat the same, drink the same, spend the same, blah, blah, we would not be friends anymore. Mm-mm. And so I think we have such an unrealistic expectation that when you get married, it means that you stop being you, they stop being them, and then all of a sudden you're just together all the time, shopping together, holding hands, wearing matching outfits. And if that's your thing, great. Right. But it does. For a lot of people, and again, my thesis of life is challenge the rules that are set out for us. So if I were to get married again, I would probably be one of those couples like Jay Moore and his wife who have like somewhat separate residences. Yeah. Like you're close, but you're not there. Because I'm like, right now, my whole thing is I am a super freak about refrigerator organization. And if someone were to come and mess that up, it would totally screw up my entire life. It would be war. I know that in my second marriage, finances were just such a huge source of frustration, not because either of us manage money poorly, but we manage it so differently that it was really hard to come together on that topic. Although that was not the straw that broke the camel's back. That will be a future episode. But yeah, like I just think that there's so many things that we assume as in the United States anyway, or really a lot of cultures, a lot of patriarchal cultures, where you get married, the woman drops her name, takes on the man's name. Didn't change my name my second time I got married. Still Jennifer Battle, will be Jennifer Battle till I die.
There you go,
Such
girl.
a cool name. Woman drops the name, they move in together. Everybody has joint accounts. You have a, 2, 3, 4 bedroom house and you live together. You have 2.5 kids. You have this kind of, no, it's like, you can make it anything you want.
Yes. And I think that's the thing is like, it's culturally, the way the conditioning is. And like, I mean, even my mom, I'll be honest with you, my mom, like my dad passed away and she met her husband now. Y'all, she met him in 2019 and married him in 2019. And I think the funny part is when she met my dad in October and married him in December. So she's very quick apparently with the nuptials. However, right?
She's like, come on, I know what I want.
But I know in the back of her head, it was the mentality of like, my boyfriend cannot live with me. It was that like conservative value of marriage and respect that came from her, like where she was raised and how she was raised. And she's very much as she says that she doesn't care what people think. I know damn well that, she's a serial poster on social media. Like people are watching her and she worries about what people think.
Yeah.
Right. So I know that she doesn't want her people at home judging her for whatever choices she's making. So she does the right thing.
I see.
Right. So for me, I think that everyone needs to understand that like at the end of the day, life is what you make it.
Yep.
And if you choose that that's how you want to have it, then do it. But if you don't, then don't do it. And I think that's the scary part is that people are scared to speak up.
Yeah. I think the word that you said that was most important was choose.
Yes.
And so I firmly believe that if people took the time to really pour into themselves, like you'd said earlier, know themselves, decide like this is what's really important to me and chose partners based on importance and then live their life the way that they think they should live their life, whether that's married in traditional or non-traditional, whatever the hell it is, I think there'd be so much lower divorce.
Oh, 1,000%. And even thinking about like, one thing that I heard that really resonated with me was, how you treat yourself is a mirror of how other people will treat you.
Yes.
Right. And I think if you think about it, like if you're not doing anything for yourself, you're not taking care of yourself, you're not treating yourself well, you speak to yourself poorly, like you're mirroring what you want people to do for you. Right. So if you pour into yourself and you love yourself, you treat yourself well, you feed yourself well, like that's going to be reciprocated from somebody else because they're going to see like, this is what she likes.
Right.
Or he likes. Like, this is what they want to do.
Right.
So I think it's really fair to totally follow that, the loving yourself to show people like, this is who you're going to get. And like you said, even too, with the boundaries, like I think about it all the time, like there are so many times that me and John have gotten into an argument or something happened that like I nipped it in the butt immediately because I'm like, if I don't nip it in the butt now and I nip it in the butt 5 years later, he's going to be like, I've done this a million times. Why are you getting mad now?
Right.
So,
and I'd even like to challenge the thing and say like, maybe it doesn't even need to be a legal marriage, No. Maybe people have a commitment ceremony. I mean, there are certainly, we talked about in the Lavender Marriages episode, there are a lot of like financial insurance and other kind of protections that make sense for getting married. But especially at my big age, it's like if those things don't really apply anymore, like when people say, would you do? And I'm like, I don't see the point.
right.
I don't see the advantage, I should say.
Yeah.
But it's not because I don't want to have a committed partnership with someone. It's just that I look at life, I see it very differently, and I would make a commitment to someone in the right set of circumstances.
Amen.
And so I, once again, like would just always encourage people, first, if you're thinking about going through a divorce, just know that it's going to be hard.
Yeah.
And whether you should get divorced and like it's a no-brainer, this person sucks or whatever it is, men, women, non-gender conforming, whatever, whoever your partner is, if you decide that it's over, it's a tough road.
Yeah.
I would really encourage you to seek support.
Yes.
But also recognize that you'll probably lose some support.
Yeah.
You may not have that same circle in front of you. And if you do, that's amazing. And you should be very grateful for that. There might be some financial challenges that we discussed. There's going to be just rediscovering who you are outside of being in a partnered relationship. But I also want to say, as you and I are sitting here thriving our matching shirts, that the upside can be freaking amazing.
Yes, absolutely. It's the life, when you make a choice for yourself, that's God telling you, like, all right, you're opening a road for the life that you want.
Yeah.
And that's what's happening.
And I'm kind of glad you said God said, because I know for me, I'm not trying to open a new topic, but the idea of failing at marriage really challenged a lot of my Christian values about marriage and what should be there. But I also believe that God is not going to give me thoughts or put things in my head that are not what he wants.
No, absolutely.
And,
I always say
right.
you're never given a dream without a chance to make it come true. And if your dream ain't going to come true with where you're at, then you got to change that.
Or if you feel caught and tortured, like,
yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm glad we had a chance to talk about this. And I know my final thing is married, divorced, whatever, partnered relationship, whatever you've got going on, really think about who you are. Because ultimately it is you and another person in relationship with each other. Absolutely. And that's all that really matters. And how it looks, how it feels, how you go about it, as long as you're not like truly hurting someone else, and not hurting their feelings or frustrating them or making them uncomfortable. I'm like painful, like you're not impeaching on someone's ability to live and thrive. Do what you want.
Yeah.
Prenup, post-nup, living together, not living together, seeing each other quarterly, FaceTime. I don't care what y'all do.
Absolutely. I'm a huge fan of Alex and Layla Hormozy, and she's very, very passionate about saying, like, who your partner is or your spouse is they're going to be the reason why you fail or succeed, because they're the mirror of the life that you want to have. And that's something you want to think about. Like, if you want to have this luxurious life, you need to put that person in that picture and say, do they fit there with me?
You were dropping some knowledge. There was that they're a mirror. So now it's like, look at your person and be like, No,
yeah, absolutely.
And I'm not encouraging people to go end their relationships.
No,
please,
absolutely not. But listen, like, if we have
true.
dreams, like, I'm a huge believer in there's possibilities for anything. Like, if you have a dream that you want to have this amazing life, it's not unattainable. And sometimes the only reason it's unattainable is because the person that's at your side
you're surrounding
is kind of
yourself with.
stopping you from it.
And that's the thing. We are the product of the people we surround ourselves with. And even if they can be a wonderful person. So like I said, this is not a spouse bashing thing, except for maybe your first.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, he sucks.
Bingo kick rocks.
But I will say, like, my first husband is a good person, and also not the right person for me.
Yes.
And so that's the thing. It's like, you are the product of the people that you surround yourself with. And if those people want really different things and you're trying to like turn left and they're all going right, then you might need to make that change. So, yeah.
Don't be scared.
Don't be scared.
Good. Your best life is on the other side of it. Keep going.
It is. And that's what Catherine told me.
Aww.
That's what she said. Your best life. She's like, it's going to be amazing. And so I guess
you're thriving, girl.
I am. So yeah, I think that's how we might end it today.
Yeah.
And just look into the camera and be like, your best life, if you're going through this really difficult time, pre, during, post, it doesn't matter. Your best life truly is in front of you. Yeah. And keep your eye on that. And just like my friend did for me, I want to encourage you. And feel free. Like, I don't know, you're listening to this. If you want to reach out to me or Fiorella, I'm volunteering you.
Yeah. No, listen, I'm a huge fan.
Yeah.
I'm a cheerleader for somebody choosing better.
Yeah, she is. I get really great messages from you all the time. Just reach out to us on our socials. I'm at Finally Jennifer on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Fiorella is styled by Fiorella Elizabeth on Instagram. And on TikTok, you're Fiorella.
I'm Fiorella.Elizabeth.
Fiorella.Elizabeth.
Period.
But yeah, and of course you can always contact us on Bras Off HQ on Instagram and message us. Tell us your stories. If you, like, literally, if you're listening to this in your car in the middle of the night and you're like, oh my God, and crying, and I'm saying this from experience, we can be your friends. Yeah. We can be a support. Even if it's just like a, hey, I see you. Make sure you reach out to us, because divorce is hard. It is truly one of the hardest things I've ever done. I do not wish it on anyone, even if it's the right thing. It's just so difficult that I'm just sending you so much love and support. And so is Fiorella. She's making the hearts. So with that, like, really excited for you to check out future episodes. And we talked about some, like, we have Lavender Marriage, and our second episode was like, is marriage worth it?
Yeah.
Which might have some different perspectives and things to think about.
Yes.
But yeah, we just want to wish you so much love and success, and enjoy getting to know yourself and
Yes.
love on yourself, and may your mirror be there for you.
Amen.
Thanks for listening to Bras Off. If you love the show, make sure you go to brasoffpod.com to subscribe and join our community.